Hello students, welcome to yet another lecture of your biology session. So today's topic is going to be about the nervous system. So I hope you all understand what a nervous system is. In the nervous system, we're going to talk about the brain and how my brain is going to work according to the changes that are going to happen in my environment. Starting with, the organisms need to respond to a stimuli in order to survive. For example, if something is happening around you and you do not respond to it, one part of your living sense would be gone. For example, if somebody tries to hit you and you do not flinch back from it, it would be like that you're stopping the responses of your body, which in practical senses is not possible, but sometimes we do it. So for the word stimuli here in the sentence actually means whatever change is happening in your environment. For example, if somebody tries to hit you, that is your stimuli according to which your body is going to respond. The responses are usually because of you flinching back, because of those stimuli that happened in the environment. A single celled organism can have just respond to the environment. For example, your amoebas are single celled organisms. If amoeba has something changing in their environment, they only have one cell, so that one cell can respond to it accordingly. But if we're talking about a multicellular organisms, the cells within themselves need to communicate, because that is how a stimuli can be produced. For example, if somebody tries to needle your finger, so needle in the finger is here. The responses are going to come from your brain. So they need to travel from your finger to your brain and then back so that you can retrieve your hand back. So that is exactly what we're talking about when we talk about the communication between two different kind of cells. So cells in the multicellular organisms are always going to respond according to how they have communicated among themselves. So a multicellular organism has evolved and developed nervous system along with your hormonal communication system. So in our human body or most of the other multicellular organisms, there are two types of responses that we have. First is your nervous responses according to what your brain is saying, and in response to those we have hormonal communication system, so that hormones can be released in the body and they can act accordingly. For example, if you're in a situation where you're scared, usually a hormone known as adrenal is released according to the situation, so that you can either fight in the situation or you can flight, which is you can run from the situation. The nervous system detects and reacts to your stimuli. So nervous system is not just your brain, it is a lot more than just your brain. Like I said, the cells need to communicate in order to respond to certain stimuli. So it is always important for my nervous system to be just more than your brain. So there are going to be different parts that we're going to talk about. Starting with the first system, which is your central nervous system. The word central here is corresponding to your brain. So my central nervous system is going to consist of my brain, which is like the headquarters of every response that is going to be there in your body, along with your spinal cord. I've put a diagram here so that you can understand the brain is going to produce the response, but for that response to get to the cells and the muscles in the body, spinal cord is required. That is why your spinal cord starts from where your head ends, which is your brain ends, which is like in the middle of your brain, behind your neck, and from there to the lower part of your spinal cord, the entire line will be having nervous system cells, so that those nervous system cells, which are also known as your neurons, can transfer whatever your brain said to different parts of the body. In mammals, the CNS is connected to the body by sensory neurons and motor neurons. So we're going to talk about two types of neurons. First is your sensory neurons, and the second one is your motor neurons. This is the first type of neuron, which is your sensory neuron. This neuron is going to carry your information as electrical impulse from your receptors to your central nervous system, which is your spinal cord and then your brain. Here, the receptor is the point from where your stimuli is entering. For example, I told you if somebody prickles your finger with a needle, this Finger is going to be your receptor. It is going to be the place from where you're receiving that stimuli. So these are going to transfer like this. In the diagram, you see there are electrical impulses going on from one end, which is here, to this end. Right after this ending, there's going to be another cell. So if I draw it, it's going to look like, so I'm drawing another. Right, and these are going to be in connection with the endings of the first neuron. So what is going to happen? Either the nerve impulses or your electrical impulses are actually going to jump from one nervous system cell, which is also known as your neuron, to the other neuron. There's always going to be some distance between here and the next cell coming up. For example, if I draw the nerve ending, it is going to look like this, right? And these are your receiver parts. These are going to have to be like this. So there's going to be a little distance between from where your nerve impulse has to jump. That place from where they have to jump is known as your synapse. So synapse is the distance between your nerve ending of one neuron and the receiver end of the next neuron. So this is how your sensory neurons work. They send electrical impulses right one after the other, so that here from your needle part, from wherever your needle touched you to this part to your brain, so that it can be a faster response. Talking about the second one, which is your motor neurons, these are the neurons that are going to carry my electrical impulse from the CNS, which is again here your brain, and your effector. That was your receiver. Receptor, this is your effector. The effector are the muscles that are going to help you retrieve your hand back. The one that are receiving the stimuli are going to be a different muscle, because the muscles around it are going to be the effector ones, along with your arm, because your arm needs to retract itself back. So all the muscles in your hand are going to help it out. So that is why all the muscles around the system are going to be called as effector cells. So these motor neurons are usually between your nerve cells and your muscles. So look at it here. This is your neuron coming up. If I start this slide again, look at this. The nerve impulse is coming and getting into the muscles, so that muscles can understand that something is happening and I need to retrieve back. I need to contract myself and, you know, pull my hand back. Talking about your effectors, all the muscles and the glands in your body that respond to your nerve impulses are going to be your effectors. Like I said, your motor neurons are between your brain cells and the muscles, your neurons and the muscles. So effector cells, effectors are going to be all the kind of muscles, organs, glands that are able and capable of responding to your nerve impulses. Talking about your receptors and effectors can form parts of a complex organ. Of course, we're talking about a lot of coordination here. We're talking about the chain of coordination here. For example, you must have seen in your classes, sometimes what happens is your teacher gives a paper to the first one sitting on the first bench, and then she tells you to rotate that in the class. So you take whatever you need and you pass that paper from the person to behind you, and then that goes on. The person behind you is going to transfer it to the person that's sitting behind them. So that is how it is going to go. So this is why they are making a complex organ, because a lot of coordination is needed. If you're transferring the paper and one person stops transferring, the last one will never get the sheets, right? So this is what is happening. The receptors are the cells that detect your stimuli from where your stimuli is going to enter your body. There are different types of receptors, such as there are receptors on your tongue for taste. As soon as you keep something on your tongue, you taste it. Whether it be bitter when you're taking medicines, whether it be sweet when you're taking a chocolate in, but whatever you take is always going to have certain amount of taste. It might be a tasteless thing, like water. Water is almost tasteless, but we all know the difference between a mineral water and a sparkling water. We know the difference between a tap water and a mineral water. Why? Because our taste receptors are very, very sensitive. The other type of receptors that we have are in your ears. Ears are going to take on the responses, what is happening around you, convert them into sounds, and so that you can hear whatever is happening around you. So that is your work for your sound receptors, to detect all the changes that are happening around you. For example, if somebody is speaking right in front of you, they are changing something in the environment, because sound is a wave. So they are changing the waves in the environment, and your ear receptors are going to actually detect that change, so that you can be able to hear whatever the other person is speaking about. Then your receptors can form large parts and complex organs. For example, the retina in your eye is covered with your light receptor cells, which is pretty much why you can always detect even the small amount of light that is going around you. If you're sleeping and somebody turns on the light, even if your eyelids are closed, you detect that light, because the entire retina, if I talk about eye, this is how your eye is going to be. So here, this back curtain-like thing is your retina, and your retina is entirely covered with your light receptors. So even the small amount of light by chance entering your lens would be detected by the retina, which is exactly why when you're sleeping and somebody turns on the light in your room, you're able to know that the light has been turned on. Effectors respond to your nervous impulses and bring about change. So effectors are going to work only when your brain has decided what to do with that stimuli. For example, if you're sleeping and somebody turns on the light in your room, your brain will tell you to open your eyes and see what is happening around you. So that's exactly what you do. Then there are muscles and glands, are also known as effectors. They respond in different ways. Muscles contract in response to your nervous impulse. Contraction, for example, when somebody is pricking a needle in your hand, you retrieve your hand back. That is because of your muscle contraction. And whereas glands will secrete your hormones, for example, if you see a snake right in front of you, so your eye receptors have detected the snake, your brain knows that it's a snake because your eyes told your brain by your nerve impulses, the electrical impulses got to your head, told your brain that I see a snake. Then your body will start releasing the hormone known as adrenal, because it is a flight or fight situation. Either you can kill the snake to survive, or you can run away from the situation. So both of them can be happening. Both of them can happen only when adrenal is in the body. Adrenal will increase your heart rate, it will increase the blood pressure, in turn increasing your response to the stimuli from your eye receptors that you saw a snake. So look at this. I'm going to explain this diagram because it's important. The first step is your stimuli, which is your heat, the heat that you can feel by putting your hand right above your candle. The second is that the pain receptors will be stimulated. In your hand, you have pain receptors. So as soon as you feel a change in your environment and you feel certain amount of pain, then the signals will be sent to your brain using your sensory neurons. Then it is going to get into your spinal cord. Everything that gets to your brain is through your spinal cord. Even if your eye has to send something to your brain, it is first going to go to your spinal cord and then enter your brain. This is never like a direct contact with the brain. Nothing has a direct contact with the brain except your spinal cord. So everything that needs a response has to first go from your spinal cord. This is your spinal cord structure. We have white matter and gray matter in your spinal cord. So this is your spinal cord. This above arrow is showing how this response is going to get to the brain. So once it reaches the brain is going to give the signals to the spinal cord again regarding what to do with it. Once that is done, the signals will be sent along your motor neurons. The ones that was taking your response from the sight to the brain were sensory neurons because they were sensing something. Motor neurons are going to bring about the change in your muscles. So once these motor neurons bring the signals from the brain, then your effector muscles are going to contract. Look at this, your hand muscles from here are going to contract, right from your biceps, then your triceps and your fingers. So everything is going to contract and you're going to retrieve your hand back. So I hope you understood how your brain works, how you have to respond to different stimuli in your environment. So next time you actually have a response to give, make sure that you're understanding how your brain is working. It's a very, very interesting topic. Then we're going to talk about in the next lecture, which is going to be your synapses and reflexes. Again, a similar thing to your nervous system. So stay tuned. I will see you in the next lecture.